Welcome to Rajya Sabha television. You're watching the news tonight with me, Frank Rausen Pereira. Here are the headlines. India-France agree to use each other's naval bases to counter China's expansionism in the Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Macron affirm resolve to stand together against trade wars. Both sides signed 14 vital agreements in various fields. Heads of 23 countries attend the first International Solar Alliance Summit co-hosted by India and France at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The summit will deliberate on ways to fund projects to generate solar energy. At the first National Legislators Conference, Prime Minister Modi urges MPs, MLAs to avoid the politics of agitation and focus on taking development to backward districts. Lok Sabha Speaker Mahajan says government schemes need to benefit the last man in the queue. Movement of goods simplified. E-way bill for interstate movement of goods from April 1st and April 15th for intra-state trade. GST Council meet decides to extend tax exemption for exporters by 6 months. And Rajya Sabha television telecast the finals of the nationwide national election quiz on Sunday. 6 teams to battle it out for the top prize after making it through grueling semi-final rounds that tested their knowledge of various aspects of Indian democracy. Well, our top focus on the bulletin today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron wrote a new chapter in the history of cooperation between the two countries. On Saturday, both countries signed 14 agreements in the areas of Indo-Pacific cooperation, defense, logistics, energy, space and human resources development as well. Cooperation in renewable energy was another milestone that marked a convergence of ideas between the two countries.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron had summit and delegation meetings on Saturday. Both sides signed 14 agreements in diverse fields that indicated a deepening of relations between the two countries. Cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region was key focus area. Both countries also released a joint vision plan that includes using each other's naval bases. The 14 agreements relate to the fields of internal and external security, railways, facilitation in migration and recognition of each other's academic certificates, urban development, space research for maritime security, renewable energy, solar and nuclear energy. In addition, France will also give a €100 billion loan for smart cities in India.
चाहे पर्यावरण हो, चाहे सामुद्रिक सुरक्षा या सामुद्रिक संसाधन या फ्रीडम ऑफ नेविगेशन एंड ओवरफ्लाइंग, इन सभी विषयों पर हम अपना सहयोग मजबूत करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है और इसलिए आज हम इंडियन ओशन क्षेत्र में अपने सहयोग के लिए एक जॉइंट स्ट्रेटेजिक विजन जारी कर रहे हैं.
Nous protège.
The trust that we share is protecting us because our interests are aligned. They are aligned, first of all, against terror. This is the structuring element of the new momentum we are giving to our strategic partnership against the current threat, against Islamist terrorism. And we very concretely decided to have some very operational and constant exchanges to do more together to fight radicalization on the internet and more also to fight against the financing of terrorism.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Railways Minister Piyush Goyal, Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval were also present at the delegation-level talks and signing of agreements. Prime Minister Modi effusively described the Indo-French relationship as the one that extended from history into the future. French President Emmanuel Macron spoke about menace of radicalization and his country's willingness to fight it alongside India. Referring to the US and China, he suggested maintaining balance and avoiding trade wars in future.
आज हमने दो महत्वपूर्ण समझौते किए हैं। एक समझौता एक दूसरे की शिक्षा योग्यताओं को मान्यता देने का और दूसरा हमारी माइग्रेशन एंड मोबिलिटी पार्टनरशिप का है। ये दोनों समझौते हमारे देशवासियों के, हमारे युवाओं के बीच करीबी संबंधों का फ्रेमवर्क तैयार करेंगे।
Mais que nous devons encore renforcer, je pense, à l'agroalimentaire,
particular in the agro-food business or for SMEs, and I will say more about it later on today. This is also one of the reasons why we are both very much attached to the balance of the international trade. We share the same willingness to prevent any trade war and to protect the existing balances. Of course, we will defend our interests within the international fora and in accordance with the rules of international trade and prevent any negative impact on our economies.
The agreement signed by two countries show growing confidence in each other as well as maintaining people-to-people ties. Of special importance to India in this regard are the facilitation of migration from India to France, recognition of certificates of academic institution of each other's country, facilities of logistics and defense. The French president is on 4 days visit to India. He was accorded a ceremonial welcome in Rashtrapati Bhavan on Saturday, while he also paid visit to Rajghat to pay tributes to Mahatma Gandhi. On Sunday, he'll jointly inaugurate the founding conference of International Solar Alliance in New Delhi. On Monday, he'll visit Varanasi with Prime Minister Modi, where he'll inaugurate the solar power station in Mirzapur and take a boat ride in Ganga with Prime Minister Modi.
Most of the agreements were signed by the ministers, and this shows the seriousness of understanding between the two countries. France wants that India should make it as its destination, and India has a great chance to reciprocate it. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Junaid in Delhi.
Well, the founding summit of the International Solar Alliance will take place on Sunday in Delhi. This is a major initiative of India in collaboration with France to organize sunshine-rich countries under one umbrella for harvesting of cheap energy. Heads of states of nations participating in the International Solar Alliance Summit arrived in the national capital on Saturday evening. They were welcomed by President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The visiting dignitaries were accorded a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan. The summit will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday. Heads of states of 23 countries are taking part in the ISA summit. The summit will deliberate on finance mechanism for the promotion of solar energy, crowdfunding and technology transfer. And now we get you all the updates from the first ever National Legislators Conference taking place in Parliament. In his address to lawmakers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi underscored that working for development in the most backward districts will be a step towards social justice. In a significant comment on current politics, he stated that hardcore politics of struggle and agitation is no longer as relevant as it used to be. The Prime Minister also spoke about social justice in the context of all-round development of 115 most backward districts identified that the government has described as aspirational. Speaking at the National Legislators Conference on Saturday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized on the goal of providing social justice. He said legislators must work towards the development of backward districts, which would come through good governance and effective implementation of schemes.
अब ज्यादातर हम सामाजिक न्याय की चर्चा करते हैं तो समाज की अवस्था तक ही सीमित रहते हैं। सामाजिक न्याय का एक और दायरा भी है। कोई मुझे बताए कि एक घर में बिजली है, बगल वाले घर में बिजली नहीं है, क्या सामाजिक न्याय ये हक हम पे जिम्मेवारी नहीं बनाता है कि उसके घर में भी बिजली होनी चाहिए? एक गांव में बिजली है लेकिन बगल वाले गांव में बिजली नहीं है, क्या सामाजिक न्याय का वो संदेश नहीं है कि अगर इस गांव में बिजली है तो उस गांव में भी होनी चाहिए? एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट फला फूला है, बहुत आगे बढ़ा है, लेकिन दूसरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट पीछे रह गया है। क्या सामाजिक न्याय की बात करने में हमारी ये बाध्यता नहीं है कि वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट भी तो कम से कम बराबरी में तो आए? उस जगह पर बैठे हैं।
The Prime Minister urged lawmakers to work with a spirit of competitive and cooperative federalism, which he said will be very good for the country.
हम राज्यों के हिसाब से देखें तो अच्छा हुआ है कि कॉम्पिटिटिव कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म का माहौल बना है, और मैं इस दृश्य को भी मानता हूं। ये दृश्य अपने आप में फेडरलिज्म का एक अच्छा जीता जागता रूप है, जहां पार्लियामेंट के मेंबर विधायक के साथ बैठ करके इलाके की, राज्य की और देश की चिंता और चर्चा कर रहे हैं। लेकिन देश जो अपेक्षाएं करता है, अगर उन अपेक्षाओं को पूरा करना है तो हम उसी पैरामीटर के हिसाब से और उसी इकाई के हिसाब से चलेंगे तो शायद उचित परिणाम नहीं मिलेगा।
The Prime Minister told lawmakers that working for development in most backward districts will be a step towards social justice, and that hardcore politics of struggle and agitation is no longer as relevant as it used to be.
कोई एक जमाना था जब देश में हार्डकोर पॉलिटिक्स, दिन रात पॉलिटिक्स, आंदोलन की राजनीति, बयान की राजनीति, संघर्ष की राजनीति, ये बहुत काम आती थी। आज वक्त बदला है। आप सत्ता में हैं या विपक्ष में हैं, जनता के काम आते हैं कि नहीं आते हैं, इस बात को जनता देखती है। आप कितनी लड़ाई लड़ी, कितने मोर्चे निकाले, कितने बार जेल गए, वो आज से 20 साल पहले मैटर करता था आपके पॉलिटिकल कैरियर में। आज स्थिति बदल चुकी है।
Speaking on the occasion, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan said lawmakers should think collectively how India can develop and become a strong country by 2022.
हमारी स्वतंत्रता की जब 75वीं मनाएंगे 2022 में, तो क्यों ना हम ऐसा लक्ष्य सामने रखें कि 2022 में ही हम हमारे देश को कैसे एक सशक्त और विकसित राष्ट्र बना सकते हैं, ये कल्पना की।
The conference that is themed We for Development aims to provide a platform to lawmakers and legislators from across the country to share their experiences, to learn from each other's success stories and develop a perspective on developmental issues on the lines of sustainable development. The concluding session of the conference is scheduled for 10 a.m. on Sunday. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu will address the valedictory session in the Central Hall on that day. Arvind Kumar Singh and Vineet Dikshit's report for Rajya Sabha Television. Earlier, CEO of Niti Aayog also gave a presentation on the development model adopted for the most backward districts. Let's listen in.
एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, और ये जाकर देखने लायक है वहाँ क्या काम हुआ है। आस्था स्कूल में जो काम हुआ है, वहाँ के बच्चे बहुत बढ़िया, और पूरी टीचर्स की कमी तो उन्होंने पूरी टीचर्स को आउटसोर्स कर दिया, और गोवा, केरला, तमिलनाडु के टीचर्स आके वहाँ पढ़ा रहे हैं इस समय, और बहुत ही बदलाव आया है। तो CSR और डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड्स को उपयोग करके ये आस्था स्कूल बनाया गया, और दिव्यांग बच्चों से के लिए, जो कि ये आस्था स्कूल नक्सल अफेक्टेड बच्चों के लिए और जो मेल नरिश बच्चों हैं उनके लिए ये साक्षम स्कूल खोला गया है। जो अच्छी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं एक दूसरे से सीखने का ज़रूरी है। कई चीज़ें जो तमिलनाडु में है वो हम सीख सकते हैं, जो चीज़ केरला में है वो सीख सकते हैं, और डेवलपमेंट को एक मास मूवमेंट करने का ज़रूरी है।
Well, many other legislators attending the conference welcomed the unique initiative and shared their views. Let's listen in.
Essentially, the development would mean doing something, creating something better than what it was before. And if you really look at it, all over the world, the development necessarily is possible because of two main resources. One is a human resource. Wherever you will find the people are competent, people are capable, they bring about development. And the second is natural resources. Wherever you have natural resources, you can actually make that development possible. And where you have both, then development even be far, far better.
Whatever the resource available, we have to do it. And people are expecting from legislators and parliament members we have to do for the development of the constituency. That is the project. That is why we are discussing here. Honorable Speaker given the opportunity that sustained development goal, that is very, very important. That development we are concentrating, people will be happy. That is our prime duty. Not only making a legislation and policy making, apart from the implementation of the program, how that area developed. That is sustaining development.
Moving on now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Saturday announced that the e-way bill will be implemented from April 1st for the interstate movement of goods. While speaking to the media after the crucial 26th GST Council meet, Jaitley also said tax exemption for exporters has been extended by 6 months. Among other key decisions, intrastate e-way bill will be rolled out from April 15th in a staggered manner and the entire country will be covered by June 1st. The present system of GST return filing has also been extended by 3 months. Implementation of the reverse charge mechanism has also been extended by 3 months. In its February 24th meeting, a group of ministers headed by Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Modi recommended April 1st as the date for compulsory implementation of the system for interstate goods movement.
2018 से इंटरस्टेट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ गुड्स में ई-वे बिल लागू होगा। उसके बाद पूरे देश को, स्टेट्स को 4 हिस्सों में कैटेगराइज किया गया है। एक एक सप्ताह के बाद जो इंट्रा स्टेट ई-वे बिल होगा वो एक एक सप्ताह के बाद उन रीजन्स में लागू होता जाएगा फेज्ड मैनर के अंदर।
Meanwhile, borrowers seeking loans of 50 crore and above will now have to provide passport details. The centre has taken this step to ensure swift action in case of fraud to prevent the fraudsters from fleeing the country. In a Twitter message, Financial Services Secretary Rajiv Kumar said banks have been told to collect within 45 days the passport details of borrowers who have existing loans of over 50 crore rupees. Last week, the Cabinet approved the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill to impound and sell assets of escapees with a view to quickly recover dues. The proposed law will apply to defaulters who have outstanding loans of 100 crore rupees or more and have escaped from the country. Well, in other news now, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh on Saturday re-elected Bhayaji Joshi as General Secretary of the organization. Joshi was re-elected for a period of 3 years, with his term expiring in 2021 in the Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha meeting in Nagpur. This will be his 4th term continuously as Sarkaryava.
The Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh's Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha, or the highest decision-making body, on Saturday re-elected Bhayaji Joshi as the Sarkaryava for a 4th term in a row. Ashok Soni, the Central India Sangh Chalak of the RSS, was the election officer.
दक्षिण क्षेत्र के क्षेत्र कार्यवाह राजेंद्रन जी जो त्रिची में रहते हैं, उन्होंने भी इसका समर्थन किया। मुंबई में रहने वाले कोकण प्रांत के सह कार्यवाह विठलराव कांबळे, उन्होंने भी इसका समर्थन किया। आसाम क्षेत्र के कार्यवाह डॉक्टर उमेश चंद्र, इन्होंने भी समर्थन किया। अन्य कोई नाम न आने से सर्वानुमते माननीय भैयाजी जोशी को 3 साल के लिए सरल कार्यवाह के नाते प्रतिनिधि सभा ने चुना है।
Known for his social service in tribal areas, Bhayaji Joshi has been instrumental in the nationwide spread of the RSS after Narendra Modi was announced as the Prime Ministerial candidate for the 2014 Lok Sabha election. In the last 4 years, Joshi has been instrumental in increasing the number of regular shakhas or daily meetings from 28,000 in 2012 to over 58,967 in 2018. In 2017, as many as 1,25,000 people got in touch with the Sangh through its online Join RSS initiative. In the RSS hierarchy, the Sarkaryava or General Secretary is the deputy to its chief, the Sar Sangh Chalak. There is no election for the post of Sar Sangh Chalak, the RSS chief. the Sarsang Chalak appoints his successor. Delegates elect the General Secretary, the executive head who does the day-to-day coordination and execution of the Sangh's activities. The Sarkaryava appoints his team and is assisted by 4 Sah-Sarkaryavas or Joint General Secretaries.
Known for his astute planning, Bhayaji is now expected to focus on further development of the RSS by creating and strengthening infrastructure, mainly the educational ones. As the ideological mentor of the BJP, Bhayaji's re-election in the RSS is also aimed at boosting the BJP RSS coordination ahead of the 2019 general elections. Reporting from Nagpur with camera person Sanjay Kumar, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Kriti Mishra. Well, Kriti Mishra, is the second day of the conclave today. What were the highlights? What was the big takeaway really?
Well, Frank, this was the second day, and of course, Bhayaji Joshi was re-elected as the General Secretary of the RSS. He will be the second General Secretary to serve such a long stint after V. Sheshadri, who held the position for almost 13 years. Now, during his election, the achievements of the RSS under his tutelage were discussed. The RSS in 2018 organized more than 58,000 daily meetings or shakas, more than 16,000 weekly meetings, and more than 7,000 monthly meetings. Of course, this was also discussed that the RSS has expanded its reach to almost 95% parts of the country, except few parts in Nagaland, Mizoram, and also Kashmir Valley. And the RSS being the ideological mentor of the BJP, we've seen BJP's invincibility at the hustings post-2014. And now, of course, the party, along with its allies, controls or rules 21 out of 29 Indian states. So certainly this was a very imperative development of both for the RSS as well as for the BJP, because Bhayaji Joshi is expected to ameliorate coordination between the BJP and the RSS, and also with the other affiliates like the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, and Swadeshi Jagran Manch, just to name a few. And also the Akhil Bharatiya Pratindhi Sabha passed a resolution today to protect and preserve the dialects and languages of India, the vernacular dialects of India. Over to you, Frank.
All right, Kriti Mishra, I will have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us there with those details. Well, moving on now, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said India has huge potential to become the leader in the solar energy sector. Vice President said this while inaugurating the Elecrama 2018 exhibition on Saturday. Speaking about climate change, Vice President Naidu said that any new policy has to factor in the urgent need to protect environment and ensure sustainable development. Stressing the importance of electric vehicles and hybrid electric vehicles, he said that they will be driving the automobile industry in the coming years. The Vice President also emphasized that industry is facing stiff competition from imports and is seeking the creation of a level playing field for the domestic industry.
A holistic mission plan launched by the government with the support of IMA lays down a clear roadmap for enhancing the competitiveness of the domestic electrical equipment industry. At the same time, I am sure the power sector will rise to occasion and ensure that the quality of international standards is maintained for providing uninterrupted power at affordable prices. Various initiatives taken by the government have improved India's rank in the World Bank Ease of Getting Electricity Index from 99 to 26. At the end of December 2017, only 1,370 villages remained to be electrified out of 18,552 unelectrified villages.
In other news now, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal wrote to Prime Minister Modi and Congress President Rahul Gandhi to resolve the ongoing sealing drive against the commercial establishments in the national capital. In his letter to the Prime Minister, he said Parliament should bring a bill to remove anomalies in the law that had led to the sealing of commercial establishments and warned that unemployment caused by the drive could impact law and order situation in the city. Seeking an appointment with Rahul Gandhi, the Chief Minister said sealing of commercial establishments is driving lakhs of people unemployed. On Friday, Kejriwal also threatened to go on a hunger strike if the sealing drive is not stopped by March 31st. Well, the world's biggest election quiz competition has reached the final stage. The finals of the competition will be aired on Rajya Sabha TV on Sunday morning at 9 AM after facing the semi-finals for 6 weeks in a row. 6 teams from various states have reached the finals. The National Election Commission will give a cash prize of 1 lakh rupees to the winning team. The purpose of the competition is to bring awareness among school students about the election process and democracy.
Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to the grand finale of the National Elections Quiz 2018.
These students in the Rajya Sabha studio are among a select few who made their mark with their knowledge about Indian democracy and the election process. They are the finalists of the National Election Quiz after coming through in rigorous semi-finals of the quiz.
The right answer? Congratulations!
These students have been selected from various schools of all the states and union territories of the country. About 13.5 lakh students from 38,000 schools took part in the competition. After facing the quiz competition at school, district and state level, 36 teams with 72 students were selected for the semi-finals. Participants were tested on their knowledge of the election process, the government system, election law, history of the Republic of India and the election process of other countries. Semi-finals of the competition were broadcast on Rajya Sabha TV, with one team getting selected for the finals every week. The final competition will be held between 6 teams from Jharkhand, Delhi, Puducherry, Goa, Jammu and Kashmir and Manipur. The national champions will get a cash prize of 1 lakh rupees, while first runner-up will get a purse of 80,000 rupees. Second runner-up will receive 60,000 rupees, while the teams at 4th, 5th and 6th positions will get 50,000 rupees each.
Afghanistan is the right answer.
The competition was an attempt to spread awareness among students between 14 to 17 years about the election process and democracy.
You have a great role in the future to strengthen the democracy and educate the voters to become the informed and ethical voters.
The final round of the National Election Quiz will be aired on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Watch National Elections Quiz 2018, presented by Election Commission of India, Sunday at 9 AM and 3:30 PM, only on Rajya Sabha television.
And finally, some international news now, where Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena appointed a commission to probe the communal clashes in the violence-hit Kandy district. A 3-member committee comprising of retired judges will probe whether any violation of law and order is among the reasons for the clashes. Since Monday, riots left 2 persons dead and damaged several homes, businesses, mosques in the Kandy district. The violence erupted after the death of a man from Buddhist Sinhalese majority last week. Action will be taken against 146 arrested suspects under the regulations of the emergency. So that it's a wrap on this newscast. Good night.